All right, let's dive into something pretty fascinating today. Holistic dental care. And trust me, it's way more than just, the usual brushing and flossing routine. We've got a really interesting mix of sources here. Everything from like a children's book about, keeping your teeth healthy to like a full-on guide to holistic dental wisdom. We even have a blog by a holistic dentist. So our mission today is to uncover what makes this approach to dental care so different. And I'm kind of thinking maybe even revolutionary.
Well, one thing that really stands out to me is that holistic dentistry really sees the mouth as like a window into your overall health. It's about connecting the dots between what's going on in your mouth and your well-being, mind, body, and spirit, the whole package.
So it's not just about like having a pretty smile then, it's a much bigger picture kind of thing. But what does that actually look like in practice? I mean, our sources mentioned some pretty unexpected practices like oil pulling.
It's actually pretty amazing how ancient wisdom and modern science are aligning in this field. Oil pulling is an Ayurvedic practice, comes from India. You basically swish oil around in your mouth, usually sesame or coconut oil, for like 20 minutes. It's thought to pull out toxins, reduce inflammation, and just generally promote better oral hygiene.
So there's actually some science behind it. I was reading that oil pulling can actually change the oral microbiome, decrease the bad bacteria. So it seems like there's some evidence emerging to support these traditional practices.
Absolutely. And it's not just Ayurveda either. Traditional Chinese medicine sees oral health as a reflection of this balance between like yin and yang energies, right? And they use things like acupuncture to address oral issues. And then, you have all these indigenous cultures that have been using medicinal plants or tree resins for oral hygiene for centuries. It's incredible how much we can learn from these different traditions.
It really highlights how having a healthy smile isn't just like a modern thing, It's something that cultures around the world have valued for a long time. But, our sources also talk about this mind-body connection.
Yeah.
And they even mention meditation as a tool for like better oral health, which seems, I don't know, a little out there to me.
It might sound surprising, but stress can really mess with your oral health. Think about it. When you're stressed, what do? You clench your jaw, you grind your teeth. That can lead to headaches, jaw pain, even damage to your teeth. Plus, stress weakens your immune system, which makes you more susceptible to infections, including in your mouth.
So meditation can actually help like manage that stress response and potentially protect our teeth. Are we talking about specific meditation techniques here? Oh, absolutely. Like even simple things like breath awareness and mindful eating can make a huge difference in managing stress, which, as we said, directly benefits your oral health. And there's even mention of things like loving kindness meditation and guided visualizations specifically designed for dental harmony. It's wild, right? It's all about cultivating this sense of peace and well-being that extends to your mouth.
Okay, that's kind of blown my mind a little. It's like a holistic approach to stress management, which then has a ripple effect on your oral health. I mean, it makes sense when you think about it. It's all connected.
Exactly. And speaking of connections, we can't forget about the role of nutrition.
Right, because what we eat impacts our whole body, including our teeth. Our sources spend a lot of time talking about things like calcium and fiber for a healthy smile.
Yeah, calcium is crucial for strong teeth and bones. So, foods like dairy products, leafy greens, things like nuts, they're your friends. Fiber is also important because it kind of naturally cleans your teeth. And it helps produce more saliva, which is really important for neutralizing acids in the mouth. So crunching on fruits and veggies is good for our teeth, too. Not just for our overall health. And of course, we can't forget about staying hydrated.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
Water is essential for washing away food particles, keeping your gums healthy, and getting rid of bacteria.
Yeah.
But now we kind of have to address the elephant in the room, right? Junk food.
Oh, yeah, the nemesis of a healthy smile. I'm guessing our sources don't have great things to say about its impact on our oral health.
Well, let's just say they go pretty deep into how the modern diet, which is packed with processed foods and sugary drinks, can really wreak havoc on your oral health. And it's not just about the sugar-feeding bacteria and causing cavities. It's about how all that processed stuff affects your gut microbiome, which then leads to inflammation throughout your body, including in your mouth.
See, that's what I'm talking about. It's not just about avoiding candy. It's like a whole system.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just about avoiding sweets. It's about making food choices that actually support a healthy gut. And in turn, a healthy mouth.
So besides the usual fruits and veggies, what are some smarter snack choices? I mean, I'm thinking about those tooth-friendly treats from the children's book. Surely those aren't just for kids.
Oh, those are for everyone. They're great ideas for anyone who wants to snack healthier. Like yogurt bark with berries, or homemade hummus with veggie sticks. Even cheese is a great snack. It's full of calcium and it helps neutralize acids in your mouth.
Okay, hold up. Cheese is a tooth-friendly snack. I can get behind that.
Absolutely. It's all about making those little shifts that can have a big impact on your oral health.
Now, one thing that seems to be kind of controversial in our sources is flossing. Like some experts, Dr. Mark Burhan, he's all about flossing, can't live without it. But then you have others like Dr. Ellie Phillips who are a little more cautious, warning about potential gum damage.
I think it's a perfect example of how personalized care is so crucial in holistic dentistry. Both of these dentists are looking at the same issue, right? But they're coming at it from different perspectives. And their recommendations vary based on their understanding of the risks and benefits. It shows that there's no one-size-fits-all approach. What works for one person might not be the best for another.
So, how are we supposed to decide? To floss or not to floss?
That's the million-dollar question. And it's something we'll definitely explore more in part 2 of our deep dive. But for now, the takeaway is that there are different perspectives. And the best approach is to talk openly with your dentist about what's right for you.
It's about figuring out what works for your individual needs, right?
Exactly. Now, there's one thing our sources seem to agree on: the benefits of xylitol. It's a natural sugar alcohol, and both Dr. Burhan and Dr. Phillips recommend it for preventing tooth decay.
I've heard of xylitol, but I don't really get it, to be honest. It's sweet, but it's good for your teeth.
It is pretty remarkable, yeah. It basically stops bacteria from growing,
Ah,
and it reduces acidity in your mouth, making it a much better alternative to sugar. You can find it in sugar-free gum, candies, even some toothpastes. We'll talk about it in more detail later. But it's a great example of how holistic dentistry is open to using natural alternatives for a healthier smile.
so we've covered a lot of ground, from ancient practices like oil pulling to the role of nutrition and this whole xylitol thing. What I'm finding so fascinating is how holistic dentistry connects all these seemingly random elements like our mental well-being, what we eat, even ancient traditions, to create a completely different approach to oral health.
And we're just getting started. In part 2, we'll get into how to actually apply all of this,
Yeah.
and we'll delve into the future of dental care. It's going to be pretty wild, so stay tuned.
Welcome back to our deep dive into holistic dental care. So in part 1, we explored the kind of foundations of this approach, like the emphasis on the mind-body connection, those ancient traditions, and how important nutrition is.
And of course, we can't forget the great flossing debate
Mm.
and the fascinating world of xylitol.
Right, right. So now I'm really curious to dig deeper into how we can actually apply all this in our everyday lives. Because holistic dental care seems to be about, giving us the power to make informed choices that support our well-being. So where do we even begin?
Well, it's interesting you say that because it kind of brings us back to that question we left hanging in part 1.
Mm.
How do your current oral care habits actually line up with the principles of holistic dentistry? And, this isn't about judgment or anything. It's more about self-awareness and being willing to make some positive changes.
Okay, that's a good point. I'll admit I haven't always been the best at taking care of my teeth. I try to brush twice a day, but flossing, not always consistent. And my diet, well, let's just say it could use a little work. I'm sure I'm not the only one.
You're definitely not alone. A lot of people struggle with those same things. And that's why I think understanding this holistic approach is so valuable. It's not just about checking things off a list. It's about understanding how your oral health is connected to your overall well-being.
Okay, so let's say I'm ready to incorporate more of these holistic practices into my routine. What are some actual steps I can take?
Well, we talked about oil pulling before. It's a pretty simple but powerful practice, and it can really have a big impact on your oral health. Remember, you just swish some oil around in your mouth, like sesame oil or coconut oil, for about 20 minutes.
Yeah, I've heard it can be a little messy and maybe not the most pleasant taste, but the potential benefits, like detoxifying and whitening your teeth, are pretty tempting. And you mentioned there's actually research starting to support how effective it is at changing the oral microbiome.
Exactly. And beyond the physical benefits, a lot of people find the whole ritual itself to be pretty meditative. It's a nice way to start your day, with intention, focusing on your well-being.
Okay, I'm definitely willing to give it a shot. What about meditation in general? How can I fit that into my oral care routine?
Well, there are a lot of different ways you could approach it. You could try some simple breath awareness exercises while you're brushing your teeth, or you could even explore some guided meditations that are specifically designed for oral serenity. A lot of meditation apps have guided meditations for stress reduction too.
You know what? I actually have been using a meditation app lately, and it's been really helpful for managing stress. I'll have to see if they have any specifically for oral health. It would definitely help with the jaw clenching I tend to do when I'm feeling overwhelmed.
That's a great idea. And remember, managing stress is a huge part of holistic dental care. Even just taking a few minutes each day to focus on your breath can have a positive impact on your overall well-being, including the health of your mouth.
It's crazy how these small changes can make such a big difference. Speaking of changes, I've also been meaning to clean up my diet. I know I could be making healthier choices.
Well, this is where you can really have fun with it. Experiment with different flavors and textures. Remember all those superfoods we talked about? Leafy greens, crunchy fruits and veggies, calcium-rich dairy products. Those are your allies in this quest for a healthy smile.
You know, I am a big fan of cheese, so that's one superfood I can definitely get behind.
Perfect. Cheese is not only delicious, but it's also packed with calcium. And the act of chewing it actually helps stimulate saliva production, which, as we know, neutralizes those acids in your mouth.
So I can snack on cheese and feel good about it. I like the sound of that.
Absolutely. And remember, it's not about depriving yourself. It's about making gradual, sustainable changes. Start by adding more whole foods to your diet and slowly cutting back on those processed foods and sugary drinks.
Small steps, big changes, right? Now, what about those tooth-friendly treats from the children's book? I might be an adult, but I still have a bit of a sweet tooth.
Those recipes are for everyone. Remember the yogurt bark with berries? It's delicious, refreshing, and it satisfies those sweet cravings without messing with your oral health.
And I bet kids would love it too. It's a fun way to introduce them to healthy snacking habits early on.
Exactly. And speaking of children, our sources actually highlight how important holistic dental care is for kids.
That makes sense. Their oral health is still developing, right? So what are some key things that parents should keep in mind?
Well, just like with adults, it's all about that whole person approach. A child's oral health isn't just about their teeth. It's about their overall well-being.
Okay, so what does that look like in practice?
I think the most important thing is to create a positive and nurturing environment around dental care. Make brushing and flossing fun. Get kids involved in choosing their toothbrushes and toothpaste.
Yeah, the children's book talked about making brushing into a game, like fighting plaque monsters or something.
Exactly. Make it an adventure, and they'll be much more likely to want to do it.
What about their diet? Are there certain foods that are especially good for kids' teeth?
All those superfoods we discussed are great for kids too. Dairy products, leafy greens, fruits, vegetables, all of those help build strong, healthy teeth. Limiting sugary drinks and processed snacks is also crucial.
I know, it's tough with all the marketing aimed at kids these days.
It's true. But by setting a good example and creating a healthy food environment at home, you can really make a difference.
And of course, regular dental checkups are important for kids too.
Oh, absolutely. Just like adults, children should be seeing a dentist regularly, usually every 6 months. But the holistic approach goes beyond just checking for cavities. A holistic dentist will look at the child's overall health, including their diet, their stress levels, and any habits that could be affecting their oral health.
So it's a much more comprehensive approach.
Exactly. And by addressing any potential problems early on, you can set your child up for a lifetime of healthy smiles.
I think any parent would want that for their child. Now, I'm really curious about the future of dental care. Our sources mention some pretty incredible possibilities, like regrowing teeth.
It's mind-blowing, isn't it? The research in regenerative dentistry is moving so fast, the potential is really incredible.
So what can we expect to see in the next few years?
Well, one area that's really promising is stem cell therapy. Scientists are exploring ways to use stem cells to actually regenerate dental tissues, including teeth.
Wait, so instead of fillings or implants, we might actually be able to regrow our own teeth?
That's the goal.
Wow, that's amazing. What about gene therapy? How does that fit into the future of dental care?
Gene therapy is another exciting area. Scientists are looking into ways to manipulate genes to stimulate tooth regeneration.
So, like, reprogram our bodies to grow new teeth?
It's a fascinating possibility.
And what about biocompatible materials? We talked about those earlier in the context of holistic dentistry.
Right, biocompatible materials are a huge part of the evolution of dental care. Scientists are developing new materials that are not only safe and durable, but they also integrate seamlessly with the body's natural tissues.
So like implants and other dental work that's even more compatible with our bodies.
Exactly. Imagine a future where dental work feels completely natural, Like it's just a part of you.
All these advancements sound incredible, but I imagine it'll be a while before they're widely available, right?
Yeah, that's true. A lot of these technologies are still in the experimental stages, but things are moving quickly. And it's really exciting to think about what the future holds for dental care. It's like science fiction becoming reality.
It kind of is. The future of dental care seems full of possibilities, and holistic dentistry is definitely leading the way.
And this brings us to a really important aspect of holistic dentistry that we need to discuss more. The materials that are used in dental treatments.
You're talking about biocompatible materials, right?
Yes, but let's dig a little deeper.
Yeah.
What's interesting here is that holistic dentistry focuses on using materials that are not only safe, but also actually support the body's natural healing process.
So it's not just about what we put into our bodies with food and lifestyle choices. It's also about the materials that we use to treat our teeth.
Exactly. Traditional dentistry often uses materials like mercury amalgam fillings, which have been a bit controversial because of concerns about mercury toxicity. Holistic dentistry, on the other hand, favors biocompatible materials, like composite resin fillings, ceramic crowns, and titanium implants.
Okay, so can you break that down for me a little? What exactly are biocompatible materials, and what makes them different from what's used in conventional dentistry?
That's a great question. Basically, biocompatible materials are substances that are compatible with living tissues. They don't cause allergic reactions, toxicity, or interfere with the body's normal functions.
That makes sense. So why are these materials preferred in holistic dentistry?
Well, as we've been talking about, holistic dentistry takes this whole person approach.
Hmm.
So it's about thinking about the potential impact of dental materials on the entire body, not just the mouth.
So trying to minimize any harm from the materials used in dental treatments?
Exactly. For example, composite resin fillings are a popular alternative to amalgam fillings. They're tooth-colored, so they blend in aesthetically, and they don't contain mercury, which we know is a neurotoxin.
I've actually had composite fillings before, and
Yeah.
I was really impressed with how natural they looked. What about ceramic crowns? What are the advantages there?
Ceramic crowns are known for being biocompatible and really durable. They're also very resistant to staining and wear and tear. Plus, they're metal-free, which is great for people who are sensitive to metals.
And titanium implants. I've heard those are the gold standard for replacing teeth.
Titanium is a fantastic biocompatible material. It integrates really well with bone, making it perfect for dental implants. And it's lightweight but strong, so it provides a really stable foundation for replacement teeth.
Wow, it's amazing how far dental materials have come. It sounds like these biocompatible options are much better for both our oral health and overall health. But I imagine they're probably more expensive than the traditional materials, right?
Yeah, that can be a factor.
Yeah.
Biocompatible materials and treatments often cost more than conventional options. But many people believe that the investment is worth it for the long-term health benefits.
It's like investing in your health both now and for the future.
Exactly. And this brings us back to that core principle of holistic dentistry. Empowerment. It's about educating yourself about the different choices you have and making informed decisions that align with your values and your health goals.
Taking control of your own oral health journey.
Exactly. And speaking of journeys, our deep dive isn't over yet. In part 3, we'll talk about how to actually find a holistic dentist. We'll discuss some actionable steps you can take to improve your oral health. And we'll ponder the future of dentistry. So stay tuned for the final part of our exploration.
Well, here we are, the final part of our deep dive into holistic dental care. It's been quite a journey, hasn't it? We've uncovered ancient wisdom, explored that whole mind-body connection thing, and even got a glimpse into the future of dentistry.
We also talk about nutrition, biocompatible materials, and how important personalized care is.
Right, right. So now I'm really interested in, bringing it all together and figuring out how we can actually use all this knowledge in our own lives. Where do we even begin? What are some things we can actually do to have a healthier, brighter smile?
Well, I think it all starts with awareness, like really tuning into your body and becoming more mindful of your current oral care habits. How did it make you feel? Are there any areas that you're neglecting or where you're experiencing discomfort or sensitivity?
It's like a mindfulness practice, but for our mouths.
Paying attention to what our body's trying to tell us?
Exactly. Notice any patterns like jaw pain, headaches, bleeding gums. Those could be signs of something that needs to be addressed.
So once we've done that, what's next? How do we turn that awareness into action?
We'll start by thinking about your lifestyle choices. How does your diet affect your oral health? Are you managing stress effectively? Are you getting enough sleep? All those things play a role in your overall well-being, including your oral health.
It all goes back to that holistic approach, right?
Yeah.
Recognizing how connected our mind, body, and mouth really are. Precisely. Now let's talk about some specific things you can do, starting today. We've talked about the importance of superfoods, leafy greens, crunchy fruits and veggies, calcium-rich dairy. Make those your friends.
And for all the cheese lovers out there, you can enjoy your cheese guilt-free, knowing it's actually good for your teeth.
Exactly. And then there's oil pulling. I know it might sound weird, but it can be really effective for detoxifying and whitening teeth. Give it a try if you're feeling adventurous.
I'm definitely putting that on my list. And we also talked about incorporating meditation and mindfulness into our routine to manage stress.
Yeah, even just a few minutes of focused breathing can make a difference. Remember, a calm mind often leads to a healthier mouth.
I've already started doing some guided meditations for stress reduction, and I can definitely feel the difference. What about dental products, though? Are there specific ingredients we should be looking for or avoiding?
When you're choosing a toothpaste, a lot of holistic dentists recommend going for natural, fluoride-free options. Look for things like xylitol, baking soda, and essential oils.
And what about mouthwash?
Same idea, really. Go for natural, alcohol-free mouthwashes. They're gentler on your oral microbiome, and they won't mess with that delicate balance.
So it's all about being mindful of what we're putting in our mouth, whether it's food, toothpaste, mouthwash. It's about making conscious choices that support our overall health.
Exactly. Now, beyond those daily habits, don't forget about regular dental checkups. But finding a holistic dentist can be tricky.
That's a good point. Where do we even start looking? What should we be looking for?
Well, there are some great resources online, like the Holistic Dental Association's website. You can search for practitioners in your area.
That's helpful. And when we're talking to potential dentists, what kind of questions should we ask? Are there any red flags to watch out for?
Look for someone who really listens to your concerns, someone who takes a whole-person approach, and someone who's open to discussing different treatment options, including holistic approaches. Don't be afraid to ask about their philosophy of care, how they approach preventative dentistry, and their thoughts on biocompatible materials.
So it's about finding a dentist who aligns with your values and health goals, right? Someone who feels like a true partner in your oral health journey.
Exactly. And remember, you are your own best advocate. Don't hesitate to ask questions, do your research, and trust your gut.
It's empowering, isn't it? It's like we're shifting from being passive patients to actually taking control of our own care.
That's the heart of holistic dental care. It's about giving you the tools and the knowledge you need to make informed decisions and take charge of your oral health.
This deep dive has been incredible. It feels like we've gone way beyond just brushing and flossing. We've discovered a whole new way of thinking about oral care.
It's been a pleasure exploring this with you. Remember, your oral health is a journey, not a destination. And by embracing this holistic approach, you're creating a path to a healthy, radiant smile. For life.
And that's something worth smiling about. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into holistic dental care. We hope you feel inspired to take charge of your oral health and discover the power of this holistic approach. Remember, a healthy smile is a reflection of a healthy you. Until next time, keep exploring, keep smiling, and keep shining bright.